am Cree, Anishinaabe, and Métis from Muskeg Cree Nation in Saskatchewan, which is in Treaty 6 territory. But we always like to begin by acknowledging the land upon which we stand, because if you don't know where you are, how do you know where you're going? This is the home of the Treaty 7 people, the Nitsic, or the Blackfoot, of Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani, the Sarsi Dene of Tsutsina, and the Stoney Nakoda of Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. We're also walking in the footsteps of Métis Region 3, which is why I proudly wear my Métis sash to act as that bridge between Indigenous and non-Indigenous culture. When we acknowledge the land, we're actually acknowledging far more than that. We're acknowledging the history of this land. We're acknowledging the families that have been here for thousands upon thousands of generations. A lot of the time when I'm teaching in schools, kids think First Nations is something from the past. But no, we're very much alive and well. I do exist, so which is a great thing. But when we acknowledge the land, we acknowledge that we still continue to do the same things that we were doing thousands of years ago to this day. We still pick our traditional medicines here. I still pick all of my medicines up on Nose Hill and some of them down along the river. We still practice our ceremonies here, whether they be sweat lodges or Sundance or Uweepi, or even women's ceremonies I actually host at my own house in my backyard, which is great. My neighbors think we're a little loud sometimes, but whatever, they can suck it up. And we still have those gatherings. We still have powwows here. Powwows were a way to bring people together. This whole area is known as Mokinstis. And Mokinstis is a gathering place. It's where two bodies of water come together to meet, a confluence. And most confluences were places of trade and community and connection, of coming together to learn and to grow and to honor each other in a good way. And that spirit of Mokinstis is still here. Whenever we go to a powwow, we can feel that. Also, nobody wants to marry your cousin. You just go to a powwow to meet people. It was great. But just to honor everyone in a good way and welcome everybody into the circle today, I would like to share with you the Cree Welcome Song. Traditionally, when we sing songs, we sing in rounds of 4 to honor the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. But this song is a little different. We actually sing it in rounds of 3. And that's to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because in a circle, we are all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in that circle, just like in the hoop of life. So it teaches us to honor each other's voices in a good way, to learn from each other in a good way, and to never judge, because you'll never know when you're going to miss a connection, because that judgment will step in the way. Mia Sin, or the Cree Welcome Song, is around 1,000 years old. It's been passed down through the Nataha family through many generations. And for many, many years, it was illegal for us to speak our languages or to share our stories or to share our songs or to practice our own ceremonies. So the fact that our stories and our songs and us as a people have remained, it shows the resiliency of that connection to the land and of that connection to each other. Mia Sin doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. Mia Sin, Mia Sin, Sameena, Sameena, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Mia Sin, Mia Sin, Sameena, Sameena, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Mia Sin, Mia Sin, Sameena, Sameena, Epetakote, Saskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle tonight, everyone. As an Indigenous activist and as an Indigenous woman, I carry a lot of women's songs with me. I tend to lead a lot of marches for murdered or missing Indigenous women, and a lot of these songs have really helped women who have lost family members. They've helped family members who have lost sisters or daughters or even grandmothers or mothers. And so a lot of the songs that we share, it has that spirit of honoring the people that we have lost and honoring each other in that circle. I'd like to share with you the Strong Woman song, and oftentimes if you're ever coming to one of our marches, you'll hear this song quite often. And this song is actually an Oji Cree song, so I'm Anishinaabe or Ojibwe and Cree, so it's totally my wheelhouse. But when we sing it, it's called a Strong Woman song because it honors those strong women that have been here for many, many generations. The strong women that have to pick up the pieces once we lose someone in our community. When we lose someone in our community, it's like a big hole has just been ripped open. Not only is that person gone, but everyone who depended on that person is damaged, is hurt, is broken, is striving for justice, is striving for answers. And unfortunately, most of our women and most of our families will not get answers. And so when we sing the Strong Woman song, it's to keep those women strong, striving for justice, to keep those families together when they are falling apart at the seams. It's to keep our communities together so that we can continue to support each other in a good way, and to keep all of our voices strong. The Strong Woman song honors the strong women who came before us, the men that are strong enough to stand beside us, and those future generations yet to be born. When we sing the Strong Woman song, we do it in a heartbeat rhythm, because that heartbeat is that heartbeat of Mother Earth. It connects each and every one of us together. It's a women's beat, an honor beat, and a healing beat. And so this is the Oji Cree Strong Woman song. I'd like to share one more song before we start the panel, which I'm pretty excited about. And this song is called the Mother Song. Now, this song was shared with me quite a while ago because of the work that I do with Indigenous women and Indigenous families and Indigenous youth. And this song was actually brought forth during the time of the residential schools because the mothers were the ones left behind. And when they got their children back, they weren't the same kids. And so in the song, it's the mother calling out to her children, trying to protect her children as they drift further and further and further away. And you can feel that sense of loss in the song. And as it continued, we started to see it again with the 60s scoop. We started to see it again with Residential Schools 2.0, which is the justice system and the social system, unfortunately. And we're continuing to see those families suffer those great losses, those mothers losing their children. And when we look at the numbers of murdered and missing Indigenous women, those numbers are staggering. So we honor all of the women, all of the mothers that have lost, all of the aunties who are there to pick up the pieces, all of those women and the strong men that have to pick up the pieces and honor that loss of connection, that loss of family, that loss of culture, and that loss of love. This is the Mother Song. you very much.
Okay, check, check. Check, 1, 2, check. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all so much for being here today. My name is FOONYAP, and I'm an artist and musician. I make Asian folk electronica, and I have the pleasure today of moderating this panel of exceptional women and one clown. Today, this evening, has been put on by Femme, the Calgary Public Library, CJSW, Alberta Music, Queer Arts YYC, and WordFest. So today we're going to discuss the challenges, obstacles, and successes of women, trans, non-binary individuals in the music industry. According to the most recent figures from the Women in Music survey, the annual salaries of women in the music industry is 27% lower than the most recently available average salaries. In music companies, women make on average 10% less than the average employees, and half of the music companies surveyed, half of them had no women or other genders participating at the executive tiers. As well, of the hundreds of women surveyed in this report, only 10% held leadership positions. So I'm really excited to dig into the experiences of our panelists today, and I would figure we'd start by an introduction of yourself and an overview of your role in the industry. How about you, starting with yourself, Sameena?
Thanks, Foon. My name is Sameena Darr. I also go by PCA, which is the Prairie Chola Ayatollah. I've been DJing in the city for about 3 years now. I held a residency with Girls on Decks, and they kind of got me going in terms of my musical career. I work at the National Music Center in the programming department. I'm the Performance and Artist Programs Coordinator there, so I do bookings for the Performance Hall and for the King Eddie. And then I'm also a liaison on their Indigenous committee.
Excellent. How about yourself, Natasha?
I'm Natasha. I'm currently with the Calgary Stampede. I work on their talent buying team, and then I run the production on all of the stages there. And I come from a heavy festival and promoter rep background, so just a lot of production. It's kind of
Wonderful. And for yourself, Meg?
My name is Meg, and I am the studio manager at OCL Studios, which is a recording facility just outside of Calgary. We are Western Canada's only residential studio, so we're fairly big. So I manage a team of 4 engineers.
Perfect. And
Cool. I'm Audrey. I'm currently a student at the University of Calgary doing women's studies, where I'm also the executive library catalog coordinator for CJSW. So I kind of maintain and help organize the physical and digital music library at the radio station. And I'm also in a band called Slut Prophet in the city. We're like a sex-positive punk band that's been around for about 3 years. And I am also just recently announced as the co-Femme Wave music curator for this year's lineup.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Tansei Oki, I'm Chantal Chagnon. I am an Indigenous woman artist, and I do traditional song storytelling. I have also been contributing to a few different hip-hop albums this year, soon to come out, so that's pretty neat. Who knew? But I also used to host jams in the city and work with many different musicians. I'm really blessed. I've been kind of singing and performing for almost my entire life, ever since I was really wee. And it took me a while to get right back into it because of an abusive relationship, which almost killed me. So I'm glad to be following my passion, following my dream, and working with my own business. And it was the Rosa Foundation is doing an artist in residence sort of thing, a new launch with the Calgary Public Library, and I'm the inaugural artist with that. So I'm very excited about that. So, hey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, let's start with the questions. How about yourself, Sameena? So do you really think that it's universally understood with some of the figures that I recently explored, that there really is inequity in the music industry?
Yes.
So you think you understand it, or it's universally understood?
No, I don't think it's universally understood at all. I mean,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
So you don't think it's universally understood?
No, I don't think it's universally understood. I think in North America, I think things are, hi Veronica, I think things are getting better adjusted. I think I think that equality is creeping its way in a very slow but progressive fashion.
So what are some positive changes you've seen and changes you would like to see?
Well, I mean, for positive change, I think this panel in general is a positive change. I think there's a lot of activism within the music community, especially in Calgary. I feel like there's a very strong push to have representation, to you know, even just looking at this panel right now, I feel like I'm part of what's being represented in the city.
Wonderful. How about your experiences, Natasha? Do you think that it's universally understood that there is inequity in the music industry?
I think people are becoming aware of it, but I don't know that people understand the impact that it has on us, like as a society and as a whole. There's kind of, I think a lot of times we look at something and, you know, we look at, okay, we have International Women's Day, so like that'll keep them happy, right? You know, versus actually getting to the root of the issues and like really making a change. And so being on this panel is great. I think what all of us should have are goals that this panel actually doesn't have to exist 5 years from now. We're just having a panel just about music in general, and we don't have to have these necessarily gatherings to talk about it together because it's not even an issue. So I think we're slowly moving in that direction, but I think we could be doing better, yeah.
What are some of the impacts you have felt as a woman in the industry, especially within your realm of promotions and behind the scenes work?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I face all the time is you get questioned a lot. You know, we had this discussion earlier where, you know, sometimes you're in a venue, you're working, and someone will come up to you and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, you're the merch girl, right?" And you're like, "Well, no, I'm actually running the show, but that's fine." You know, and it's totally great to be the merch girl too, but there's kind of, you know, there's a perception, and so the challenge that I face is constantly being questioned. And as much as that's a challenge, though, it's actually a little bit of a blessing in disguise because it makes me way better at my job because I have to know way more. I don't have room to make mistakes because the second you slip up, you know, you're called out for it. So as much as it's a challenge, I actually think that it makes us better at our jobs, and we have to know more, and we have to, you know, be more diligent with everything that we're doing, whether it be an artist or someone like myself that's working in production, so.
I see your head nodding, Chantal. Have you had this experience as well of feeling like you needed to have your work and all your bases covered before being even considered?
Very much so. I mean, I've experienced a lot of misogyny throughout the music industry, both the traditional music industry as well as the contemporary music industry. And when we used to host jams, the amount of sexism and the amount of just, oh man, it was brutal. And you have to do it with a smile, and you have to deal with the amount of shit that you have to deal with. But you also have to make sure that you are on point every single time. You have to go above and beyond. And there is no room for mistakes, because as soon as you make a mistake, it's like, oh, well, you're just a woman. No, I am more than that. I am empowered. I'm a warrior. And you will not take that away from me because of my gender. Thanks much. And I'm dealing with some because I used to book bands as well at different venues that I would work at, or at different jams that we would host, or different festivals that I had coordinated ages ago. The amount of sexism that would come off some of those artists, not only the artists, but also some of the funders. You're like, well, you know what? You're not allowed to speak like that to me because I'm doing an event for all genders, not just yours. So I'm very outspoken And sometimes that would rub people the wrong way, but I do it with a smile, and I'm very polite, and people like me after I tell them off, so it's good. But in the traditional industry, especially in Treaty 7 territory, there's a lot of sexism, tons of sexism.
So just so we understand clearly, what do you mean? So the traditional, you're talking about your own culture industry? Okay.
So Aboriginal or Indigenous music, First Nations music, Métis as well as Inuit. It depends on the treaty number that you're in. It really does. It depends on where you're from. And here, most women don't drum. And I am a female drummer. I'm a female two-spirit drummer. And so I had experienced incredible amounts of misogyny from male drummers, from male community members, and the way that I was spoken to. I was at one event leading a march. The male drummers were getting paid. Me as a female drummer, I never get paid. So it was, we were sitting there and we're marching for murdered and missing Indigenous women, yet we're treating our women like this. We're treating them like they're second class, and that the men have to get paid for everything they do or they don't show up. And that was really hard. And so I've been working my ass off for the last 10 years to make sure that there's equality with women in the Indigenous music community here, and that we get paid what we deserve, because it's important. We work so much harder, and we do so much more work for free. We're on the ground, organizing events as well as, performing and presenting. I'll sit there and I'll drum and sing for 3 hours straight, whereas men will show up, do 2 songs, then walk out with $500. So it's been a challenge. I've been spit on by male drummers before.
No.
Oh yeah. So, and that's heartbreaking, because you're doing things in a good way, and you're working your butt off, and that you're stepping into those roles, and you're stepping up for those women who need to follow in your footsteps, because it's all about laying that foundation for the next generation. But sometimes it's heartbreaking, the way that you get treated.
I understand that other level of complexity myself, being a person of color, coming from a traditional Chinese family. I felt the pressures of not only conforming to a Western idea of womanhood, but the passive, closeted version that is idealized in traditional Chinese culture. So Megan, for yourself, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about your experience as the studio manager at OCL Studios. What kind of challenges do you face, or if any, or
something that I'm always very transparent about is that I am incredibly lucky. It's actually a family business. So my dad built the studio, I run it, we kind of do it as a team. So I kind of right off the bat got this respect level just from the position that I was put in. I am in a relationship with somebody who is also in the music industry. So a lot of the times I'm in rooms that otherwise I wouldn't be in, having conversations with people that otherwise wouldn't be interested in talking to me. And I definitely recognize this. And that's why I feel like I can be a little bit more outspoken, because I am in a position that other women aren't in, and it's my job to use that to my advantage and try to help the women around me. So, something I read the other day was they just did a study, and for every 1 female producers in Canada, there's 47 male producers. And that's outrageous. So I am in a position where I do the hiring at my studio. And I've never, ever had a female engineer or producer reach out and ask for an internship, but I probably get 1 a week from a male. And I would love to say yes. So I think for me,
more female producers, right?
Yes, it's just, please ask, because I would love to say yes, I just need somebody to ask so that I can say yes. So I think that that's sort of what I like to do, is just kind of, because I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in, use it for good.
Wonderful. So for any producers in the audience,
email me. Come see me after.
Audrey, So I'm really curious to pick your brain about what are some of the barriers you feel there are to women and non-binary and transgendered individuals entering the music industry?
Yeah, so I come very much from a do-it-yourself background getting started in the music industry, and I think I'm going to speak mostly on the kind of punk scene in particular, because I think it's the one that has the most work to do from my experience. I'm in a riot girl kind of style band, but I think it's difficult in the punk music scene to be in a female punk band because there is an expectation of you being so like hyper angry or hypersexual or that kind of thing as like a riot girl, like empowered woman position. So it's hard to write music that's not just about something other than feminist issues. Like there's kind of an expectation like in punk music, if you're a woman in punk music, you must be doing it to kind of fulfill that like angry
so you like
role.
can't be angry that you burnt your toast?
Yeah, like you have to be in a riot girl position or a hypersexual position to make punk music as a woman. You can't just like be allowed to be angry for other reasons. Like they just assume that, I think, is
That's
what I'm trying to
interesting.
say.
I never thought about that.
So sometimes I feel like it doesn't have to be a female-fronted band or a riot girl band to be a punk band with a woman in it. It can just be a punk band and a woman with, like, I don't know. So sometimes I think that's a bit frustrating in the punk scene. Or they're like, whoa, you're so badass that you're getting up there and screaming. That takes like so much courage. And I'm like, not really. It's pretty easy to do. So just kind of this, I guess, like glorification of like a punk female individual is something that I think there's a lot of issues with in the punk music scene.
How about Sameena? How about yourself as a producer and DJ and...
Yeah, it's tough. It's a struggle. People look at you funny when you're plugging in your equipment, or people hover over you and they're like, do you know how to use that?
But
or
is that why you...
Where do you get that? Or you should really upgrade your gear. Or it's just... I'm like, why don't you have a seat and grab a beer? I'm gonna melt your face and then we'll talk. You know, it's always a juggle of... You're always managing people's expectations of you when you show up to a gig, and that's why I like to clown. Because a clown adds another layer. And people just get angry when they see the clown. Or they're like, we didn't hire a clown, we hired like a female DJ. And you're like, oh, here I am. So it's always, I mean, you're always managing that expectations. And like, it's just gonna make me work harder. Like I'm just gonna go home and mix for another 2 hours after my gig. And then I'm gonna be even better the next day. And I feel like I'm at this point too where I'm constantly working because I work harder, and I get gigs because I work harder, and I like it. Like I like it when I'm opposed. I like it when, like you said, somebody spit on you. Like actually, I mean, it's just people do appalling things.
5 guys in a row.
Yeah. People do appalling things in nightclubs too, and it's last call. It's 2:30 in the morning, 3. I'm trying to pack up my gear, and it's that constant harassment that keeps you on your toes.
How do you deal with that kind of discrimination?
Oh God, it just kind of okay. When it comes from all angles, Luckily, Queen of Bud just opened up in Sinalta, so that's one way of dealing with things. But it's it's a constant struggle. It's a self-confidence thing. It's a self-esteem thing. Maybe I got to chant. Maybe I have to meditate before my gig. Maybe I have to be selective about what I wear. It's all of those factors that it's a daily struggle. The struggle is real. It's a daily struggle.
Okay, so Natasha, what are some recent initiatives and projects that you've been involved in terms of raising women up?
Well, there is talent buying in my position right now at the Stampede. Is we look at that. It's a business, and so we have to look at it from a business first. But a couple years ago, we changed over some of our programming on one of our stages to be all local artists, up-and-coming local artists. And so,
That's wonderful.
yeah, it's been
Mhm.
great. It's we run through almost 30 bands over those few days of just, local up-and-coming artists. And we've been trying to partner. Alberta Music's been amazing. We're working with the ACMA a little bit and trying to kind of create more partnerships with local kind of community, associations and stuff to kind of help us do that. And through that, there's no, we don't do a specific, female day. We don't do a specific like Indigenous Artist Day because it should be even just all around. We're just booking great artists with great music. If we're being really real in the room right now, I snuck in an all-female day last year just for fun. Maybe do it this year too. I don't know, it just happened. But that's, really behind it is, that's kind of the big thing that I've been working on there and just really supporting just local and up-and-coming artists in general. Does not matter who you are or where you're from or what it is. It's just about putting good music on a stage in front of good people.
And what has the response been to that more diverse programming?
It's been great. We've had a lot of people comment on it. I think we've gotten a really good response from the artists in the community too. It's giving them kind of a chance, to come play Coke stage, get on we've got stage managers, we've got sound techs, our team is really behind it too, so you get to come and have a great experience. And so I think from the artists, we've been getting a great response, and from the public too. I mean, I don't know, I think it's good, so.
That's an interesting initiative because as a Calgarian, the Stampede is so part of our identity. And so to have the Stampede to celebrate Western culture and heritage with inclusivity and diversity in mind, I think is a warming step.
Yeah, I'm not from Calgary originally, so I moved here for this job, and I was like, what is this festival? Like, the city is going crazy.
I'm
I've
so
never seen
confused.
anything like it. Yeah. There's so many cowboy hats. But yeah, so it's been really fun to kind of see that grow over the past couple years, and I hope that we can continue on with that. Yeah.
So Audrey, what are some of the projects you're working on? I know that, yes, like you said, you were just announced as the curator. Maybe you could speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to get started. I'm going to be starting in a couple of weeks, so not much to say about that quite yet, but I'm super excited to get it started because Femme is an incredible festival, and it's a super, super good opportunity to be able to highlight a lot of different artists around Canada and hopefully the States too. Once I get a look at the submissions, we'll see. So yeah, I can't say a lot about that right now, but I can talk about some stuff at CJSW that has been going on. So I work with the library collection and the physical and digital archives. So we have like thousands and upon thousands of digital and music and records and cassettes and CDs and all this fun stuff. So a project that's kind of in the works that started last year is a I guess like underrepresented artist music database that is being started to go ahead and tag some of those physical submissions and hopefully, the digital submissions first and then hopefully physical later. There's just a lot to do with not as much manpower to make sure that we're representing and giving airtime to more underrepresented artists, which is really cool because right now the database is organized by genre, but then you have to kind of research every artist that you're looking through to make sure that you're, like who's in the band and that kind of thing. So this way when we take them out, you'll be able to just quickly search like by tags. Like right now I'm just starting on the Femme genre tag to be able to search for any bands that have like female members in them, which is really, I think, a really important thing for us to be doing. So I'm excited about that.
Wonderful. And so just to all of you, where do you think in the industry that are there opportunities for us to make immediate changes?
I think you made a really good point about engineering and producing. You know, like it has to be less people in front of the camera and modeling and singing or doing whatever, and more people in the booth making the big decisions. I have a friend who works in public policy, like in the government in Victoria, and we were having a chit chat, and she was talking about how long it takes, and she's the only woman in the room, full of old men with gray hair, and she's like, policy is painstakingly, it takes a long time to change things. And for me, it's, I find I'm the only woman in the room sometimes. And
Sorry, your friend works in policy?
She works in policy.
Okay.
So I'm talking about policy. I'm talking about policy. I'm talking about people being in the boardrooms, being in the studios, being behind the camera. And sometimes it's important to be behind the camera, because that's sometimes where all the decisions are being made.
Yes, absolutely.
Alberta Music hosted a Women in Music discussion probably 2 years ago now, and somebody brought up this fact that she had read, where if a man is looking at a job description and he matches 60% of what they're asking for, he's like, heck yeah, like I'm gonna apply for this, I can do this. But if a woman sees an application and sees that she doesn't meet 40%, she's like, oh, this isn't for me, I'm not the right person for the job. So I think that's kind of ingrained in us, but just to try and move past that and ask for things, and if that doesn't work, demand things, because we all know that it's not right. Like, we all know that there should be more women on the radio, and we all know that there should be more women on stage, but if we all just kind of talk to ourselves, we're not getting the ears that we should be getting. So just taking initiative to, even though it's so scary, and 95% of the time the answer is probably no, to all just agree to like ask more.
I
so
think
that
that's
people
great
can
advice.
say yes.
I'd say support each other. That's the big one, is stop tearing each other down and start building each other up. That's the biggest thing. Create opportunities for each other, and if you can't follow through on an opportunity, pass it over to another woman. That's what I've been doing. And also sometimes you just need to create those opportunities yourself. I have my own business. This is what I've been doing, because trying to work with other people, I found that I was getting undervalued, underrated. I was being discriminated against simply because I was a woman, and I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm doing my own thing. And that's when I found true success. So sometimes if you're beating your head against a brick wall, well, find a door or build a door and knock it down. And I think that's really, really important, especially when it comes to the music industry. Like, create your own festivals. FemWave is a perfect example of that. You know, because we've created these amazing opportunities. You give women enough, you know, ability and confidence to do it, but knowing that they have a community behind them to support them, that's a huge, huge aspect. And just really coming together and honoring each other and each other's talents and acknowledging that we're all in this together.
I think a lot in the kind of do-it-yourself scene as well. I think it's really important to think critically and kind of question what's being put on. Sometimes, like taking a look at, like, for example, tokenism, like why are they doing this? We need more representation, and so, like you're saying, like, if you can't see it, start doing it, or start not calling out, but kind of raising awareness that, like, hey, I see that there's only one woman on your bill, why is that, kind of thing, and kind of inquiring further, not in a way that's calling out or harmful, but just kind of raising awareness of that and making it known that, like, this isn't okay, just calling into question the actions of, yeah, you're putting on this festival, but there's only one woman act on it. Why is that, kind of thing? So just really questioning and being aware when you're thinking about everything in the music scene. Do you have any female sound techs in this festival? Do you have any females on your board? Like, that kind of thing. Just thinking about the representation all around and really calling into question and asking the questions directly to the people involved is important too.
Policy is huge.
Yeah, and can I add on to that?
Of course.
And if you have, like, I have to fill out a lot of, like, spreadsheets and things with quotas, and I always use this example. In university, we had a co-ed soccer team, and you had to play 2 girls to make it like a co-ed team. And they only ever played 2 girls, even if like 5 girls showed up. It's like, play all the girls. Play all of them. Why are we just meeting like the minimum requirements so you can get your grant or get this or get that?
That's a good point.
Book a whole month, you know? Don't just book one show a year. Don't just have like an International Women's Day show and that's it for the year. Book it all the time, you know?
I think too and I feel this way sometimes being a female in this industry, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way too, but you almost feel a little bit like an alien here. You're like, I don't like fit, like, you know, where is everyone else, sort of. And so it's also just getting over that mindset that like you don't fit here, and understanding that you have a right to work in this industry and you're talented, and if you work hard, you're allowed to be here as much as anyone else. And female, male, or, you know, it does not matter your race or whatever, you have a right to be in this industry if you work hard and you are good at your art, and or being a sound tech or being a stage manager or whatever it is. And I think if we can get over that and put ourselves in that mentality, it arms us with the tools and the tactics that we need to navigate through those difficult situations when you get kind of in a sticky situation, because you're like, no, wait, don't question yourself. I have a right to work here in this industry, and I'm allowed to be here.
Absolutely.
Creating policy is very important too.
Yeah, I was
know.
thinking about that. I've been actually thinking about this for several weeks now, about why there has been such a lack of gender diversity. And I have concluded, this is my personal conclusion, that we need a national childcare program. As a touring musician, it requires a lot of time and resources and a lot of free work for a long time. And there's just absolutely no way that if we structure our society in the way we have now, in which, for the most part, women do a lot of unpaid labor as child carers, that they can invest the necessary time and resources into starting their own business as a musician or a music company. It would just be impossible. And I actually see these kinds of challenges from my friends who would like to start a family, but really can't, because that would mean that they would have to be away from their kids, you know, for long periods of time. Maybe you could speak to this, Chantal.
Yeah, so I've been a single mom for like ever. So my eldest son, I had him when I was 18, got pregnant when I was 17, and now he's 21. So, and he's downstairs hanging out with his brother, who's 10. But as a single mom, it was really difficult to do and follow my passion. It was really hard. I felt like that was a constraint. And I know a lot of women have given up on their dreams because they've become parents too young, or they become single parents with, you know, deadbeat dads, or even men who have had women have babies and just saddled them with the kids. So I think it's really important to support each other, and I would watch other people's kids so that they could watch my kids. So we would do an exchange, and I think it's really about looking at the way that our cities are designed and looking at the way that our communities are designed. Because if we had more open communities where we were connecting with each other, we would be supporting each other, especially women entering into the music industry or doing things that they really are passionate about. If there's that support in place and you don't feel alone, it makes it so much more accessible. And I think that's so important. I know that the NDP have that universal childcare. Well, they're trying to make it affordable childcare. And they're getting a lot of pushback, which is kind of ridiculous. It's like everybody will have kids at some point, or, you know somebody that has kids, but a lot of women will struggle entering, back into the workforce, whether it be in the arts or not, because there's just no access to affordable childcare. It was one of the hardest things. There was a time when I was working 3 jobs just so 2 of the jobs were actually only paying for the childcare that I was doing, which was ridiculous because it's crazy expensive.
It is.
And sometimes, it's cheaper just to live on welfare, and that's not right either. So you need to be able to create more diverse communities, bringing everyone together. Also, it's knowing that a lot of women will be looked over because they have kids. Now, I'm actually going to share a true story. I wanted to go to Mount Royal University. At the time, it was only Mount Royal College because they had an amazing musical theater program. And my son was about 2 at the time when I had applied. And they were like, oh, this is great. And I did my audition. And they were, that was wonderful. And I was like, awesome. They're like, so is there anything, that we should be aware of? I'm like, well, I have a 2-year-old. And they're like, oh. Okay, well, thanks for coming in.
Oh
Like,
no.
wow, so that tone completely changed because I was a single mother. I think it's definitely improved because there's a lot more single moms knocking it out of the park, but I think we definitely have a long way to go because there is that element that women do get paid less simply because they have children, and they'll step away because that's their priority.
Absolutely.
But we should allow that to be a priority because
Absolutely.
that's the future.
It's a priority of all of our society. So this is going to be the last question, the one, sadly. So what are some lessons you've learned along the way of your journey? How about yourself, Audrey?
Lessons I learned along. I guess just like any opportunity you get, like I just like to stay busy and take every opportunity I get to like learn and grow and tackle so many things at once because I want to do everything. So I think just really, like you said, like you are like worth it, you are talented, you are good enough. So don't pass up any opportunity to try. I think was the biggest thing about me because I was really nervous starting off as a young musician. I was only about like 16 years old and now I'm only 19. When I started getting into the music industry, and I was really scared, and the all ages scene is a whole other thing of problems, but just being like, oh, I'm not young enough, or I'm not old enough to like to fit in and do this kind of thing, and lots of worries there, but just like no matter what age you are, to recognize your talents and recognize the opportunity in front of you and just like go for it, I think was the biggest thing for me, was kind of getting over all my personal fears of being like too young or not good enough, and just like validating your own talents and like worth in that sense is super crucial.
Anything else?
Learning as much as you can, I think, is huge, and just taking every opportunity to learn and ask questions too. And also just surrounding yourself with good people. Again, like I have some amazing males in my life that have trained me and taught me so much in the music industry, and then these amazing females that have sort of paved the way for us. So just to surround yourself with those good people and then keep them by your side and just learn as much as you can.
Kind of with that, I would say that I have learned that knowledge is your best friend. And if you can read as much as you can read and get as many facts as you can, because if I sit here and I go, country music doesn't play enough women, and that's it, people are like, oh, another hysterical woman, she's just upset that she's not on the radio. But if I'm like, no, like if you look at the charts, there are literally more songs with the word girl in the title than actual women in the top 40, and I can show them this in actual charts, I'm no longer complaining, I'm just stating a fact. So I think that's really important.
I think maintaining your dignity is super important because people are going to try and tear it down. And this isn't exclusive to male promoters. I've been harassed by male promoters. I've been harassed by female promoters. I've been harassed by non-binary promoters. Like, it comes from all angles, okay? And it's not about this person's the enemy or that. You always have to maintain your own personal dignity. And you have to work harder, and you have to understand business, okay? You have to understand how a business works. You have to understand if you want to work in an industry, if you want to make music, that's great. If you want to work in a music industry, you're going to have to understand a whole other level of skill sets and negotiations in order to be successful in that space.
I never say no. I say yes to almost every opportunity. Opportunities are amazing, and you never know where it's going to lead. And I find sticking your values, your ethics, standing strong and standing true in who you are, and don't let people push you around. I've been in enough abusive relationships that I can almost smell them coming from a mile away, so I definitely avoid those people. But it's about really trusting yourself and trusting your intuition and knowing that you have to stand up for what's right. Especially as an Indigenous artist, you become an activist by default. You are not only representing yourself and your craft, but you're representing your people, and you carry all of that trauma with you. You carry all of that colonialism with you, and you have to be able to present it in a way that people can understand without getting turned off and without, running screaming to the hills going, it wasn't my fault. Well, no, but you're benefiting. So let's talk about this. Let's unpack this. And so I think it's really important that, we just really let our voices be heard. And if somebody's not willing to listen to our voice, stop wasting your breath.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing your perspectives. It's so important to hear your diverse voices from so many sectors of the industry.
Can I plug my show, Foon?
Yes.
There's a show tonight at the King Eddie. It's going to be Sony Deaf. I'm going to be spinning Miss T's from Red Deer. If she can get here, there's like 20 centimeters of snow on the highway, but she's driving in. She's open for D12, Obi Trice, Tech 9, any major 90s rapper that's come through. She has never headlined a show, and she's been rapping for over a decade in this province. She is headlining tonight. Hopefully she'll get here. Z the Free is also rapping. Bavite, who's a drum and bass rapper, is also rapping tonight. It's all heavy hitters. And it starts at 11, so you can stay for this whole event and then come afterwards and not miss anything tonight.
That's wonderful. So as far as the rest of the evening, I would like to invite all of you to join us downstairs for the arts showcased. There will be visual art by Haley Ayers, Selena Martineau, and Justine Savich. And the exhibit will continue on the main floor until March 15th. As well, the performance art collective Tuva Offspring will be performing Foyer between 7 and 8, so now. And it's comprised of Justine Savich, Tammy McDonald, Jessie Altura, and Polly Orr. And then finally, in the main floor salon, the Calgary Queer Arts Society, they'll be featuring films from the Youth Queer Media Program. One of the films includes mature content, including subjects that could trigger sexual harassment survivors. We have volunteers on hand to welcome you back into the space if you would like to avoid that content. So thank you all for being here. Enjoy the art, and join us back here at 8 o'clock for our music showcase.